Welcome to OSS Spiritual Podcast. Adhikasvaraa Dasi is here, and you're listening to the very first ever episode of OSS Spiritual Podcast. And today I would like to share a bit about what has been occurring really often as a theme in my life and what I have been going through in a way, or just keep going through my mind in general, just to have a heart-to-heart chat and be really real about spiritual path in general. So let's begin. So I was thinking a lot about what spirituality means for me, because there are many things about what spirituality means outside, and for me, it's about taking really bold choices. You see, sometimes we come into a point in our life where we face that we need to make a choice. And you see, there is a choice which might affect your life a bit, and it might make it better a bit. And you don't need to compromise much, you don't need to change much, and you can still be okay with where you are. And there is the second option where you would need to make a bigger choice, a bigger change, and probably requires for you to leave your security zone. And it's probably filled with unknowns, and probably in the way you might need to change something so massively, there's probably most likely a pain is waiting for you. And spirituality is about, for me, that you make that bold choice to pick that unknown path which will really challenge you. That's the spirituality for me. So taking that bold, unknown chart that will actually beat the crap out of you, probably. Because you cannot shape a diamond without applying an extreme amount of pressure. So in order to shine, you need to go through pain. And I think that's the best way to explain what spirituality is for me. You know, while you're making these choices, you end up picking paths, and you walk on a path, whether you know it or not. But I'm pretty sure there's something happens in your life that makes sure that you're aware that you're on a path. And while you're on this path, and most of the spirituality, they constantly talk about you need to let go of yourself, you need to let go of your ego, so that you can be yourself, But it's so abstract, so much in the air, and I cannot relate to that because I don't know what it means. But hear me out. I just recently discovered kind of what it means, but I haven't applied yet. So bear with me while I'm trying to explain what I just figured out, what I understood from it. So first, you need to become aware of how you define yourself. Like I would say, I'm an interior designer. I'm from Turkey. I have, I don't know, many things. You just define yourself with literally using adjectives. And after seeing yourself, how you see yourself, how you define yourself, how you perceive yourself, then spirituality is about letting go all of these identities and labels you created for yourself one by one. This is what letting go means, what I understood. But in order to let go of something, first you need to acknowledge that you have it. So that's why self-analysis and perceiving yourself, to be aware of yourself, how you are, who you are in a way, but I'm not talking about in the wider sense, but just in the sense that if you would write a book about yourself, if it would be a biography, what would you write about yourself? What would be your first words, basically? And just starting from there to let go of these things is the key. So I have been doing that. I have been writing a book about me, and I was amazed in multiple levels how many boxes I created to define myself and how strongly I'm holding on them to exist in society, in the world, and even in me as a person to just prove that I exist. And this is extremely time consuming. This is so unnecessary in a way. And this is crippling because I see most of the things I'm carrying, I actually don't believe in them anymore, but I just doing them out of habit, which is like a slap into the face. Or there's much more depth into what I think about myself. And sometimes I over evaluate myself. And most likely, I always over evaluate myself. This helped me to eliminate the drama out of my life in a way. Because when I hold on those things, of course, it's harder to experience stuff because it most of the time you need to let go of things. You need to say, oh, I don't need to define myself with it. I'm not talking about morals or like I'm vegan and I will always remain as a vegan. And I was happy to be a vegan. But in a way, if that is the first thing that I say when I meet a person, I say, hi, I'm Adhikasvaraa Dasi. I'm vegan. It's it's like putting a shield around you, to be perceived in a way, to be understood in a way, instead of just being. And this is really restless because for the mind, we cannot just be. It's so annoying. If it would be, we would be able to meditate. We pretend we're meditating, but we're not meditating. You know what I mean? So I'm aware of the complexity of the situation. But it's so important that we become aware of ourselves and we take time to see what are we holding on to, what things we're defining ourselves with. And when the time comes, just to say goodbye to those things doesn't mean that you won't be those things anymore, but just to say, I am not only that. There will be a huge liberation in the sense that we can be much more than who we are right now in order to reach to our fullest potential. And along the way, spiritual practices are the most helpful tool anyone can ever have in order to step forward, in order to support you in the times where it feels really heavy. So one big thing to my fellow generation is that we decided to carry many things that doesn't belong to us. We decided to wear many clothes that doesn't belong to us. And now in our generation, it started to stink. It smells so bad. We get into depression. We all have anxiety because we're trying to wear something that is already out of fashion. And it's time to just realize what we are wearing, put them into the washing machine, clean them, nicely fold them, and put it back into closet where they belong. I think this will bring lots of peace in ourselves. You don't need to be one thing. I don't need to be one thing. We don't need to be five things. It's okay not to know. The journey is all about discovering, and it doesn't mean you need to get somewhere. Just collect things along the way. Just do it. Just experience it. Just see how it makes you feel. If it's adding you something good, if you see it helps you to evolve, keep it and move on to the next thing. But don't limit yourself in the same place. Constant change is needed as it's in our nature. I know it's comfortable. I know it's so cozy, but in some point you will feel unhappy. You will feel stuck. I can almost promise you that. And it comes to the point that we are not peaceful within ourselves. And in order to do that, we need to keep growing. And it's all okay. So do the most kind thing possible. Give that time and space to yourself, which will allow you to grow, which you will discover yourself in your worst, in your best, and be there for yourself because there won't be ever a time which will be the best time. That just doesn't exist. Now is the best time because probably your mind, your body, your spirit has been telling you that multiple ways that is happening in your life. And you just need to do a really, really bold choice, take a really bold step, and make a change in your life. Be bold, and trust me, in some point it will pay off. So that's all I have to say for this first ever episode. I hope you enjoyed it and hope to see you soon. Stay kind and loving. Bye.